All right. Hi, Rebecca. If I could just have you state your name and a little bit about your organization before we get started.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Cannara, and I'm with Universal Human Rights Initiative, or we call you HRI. And we're a Los Angeles-based organization that formed in connection with the United Nations and their promotion of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And we do both work promoting that and translating and recording the UDHR into many languages that haven't yet been translated by the UN. And we promote human rights education through a human rights education portal with curriculum and sources for educators. And then we do dialogue, a lot of intergroup dialogue and dialogue opportunities for people to really explore how they're connected to human rights, what are meaningful ways that they can get involved and take action in their own communities and their lives. And yeah, that's what we do.
Awesome. All right, so just jumping into the first of our profile questions, please describe your human rights education and training work.
So because our goal is to promote people's engagement in human rights, we take a lot of time to be in dialogue. We hold intergroup dialogues throughout the year in local, national, international ways now. We use, a lot of Zoom conferencing. And then we have in person as well, so that people can really explore both human rights and social justice and understand how their unique selves and their identities connect to this, and how we can work together in allyship to promote human rights and advocate for them in our communities.
Awesome, thank you so much. So kind of along those lines, what's one aspect of your human rights education work that you're especially proud of?
I think what I'm really proud of is the natural way that our work came about. So first, identifying this gap in promoting human rights globally, because the translations at the UN there were many, but they were also limited, and some of them were too formal and needed updates. And so that there was a need there that we could be of service and work with people from people all over the world to do recordings of those of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which didn't have recordings in a uniform way. They just had the translation written. So if you couldn't read your human rights, you didn't have the same accessibility. So that's been really exciting. But the way that naturally evolved into partnering with Los Angeles Unified School District and creating a portal that educators could use to access resources that are focused on human rights and social justice, that they could just weave into the curriculum they already have to sort of support the way that educators have to supplement on a weekly basis. They're looking for things to do to supplement, and so we could provide, videos and engaging content that they could easily, sort through and that's aligned to standards. So that was exciting. But then naturally, they said these conversations are hard in the classroom. How do we have these conversations? How do we talk about human rights and social justice? We have students who are directly impacted by it every day. And so our intergroup dialogue experience and training really became crucial to supporting that. And that's something that organizations just really are asking for, different ways to come together, to practice dialogue, move away from debate, but have it with a social justice lens where we can say, how am I invested in your rights and you're invested in my rights?
Awesome, thank you. And I certainly benefited from those programs in that portal. So thank you for all of that work. So the next question is, why do you think human rights education and training is important?
I think that I end up finding myself in conversations on any given day with people who their frame of reference is set as their experience only. And so a lot of assumptions get made about other people's experiences. So right now, especially about the rights of women. And so a lot of sort of paternalistic and gender-based ways of thinking comes forward, and what happens is, instead of us having a grounding in the fact that we all are entitled to basic human rights, people are leaning instead on their very personal experience. And so for me, it's just crucial right now that there are opportunities for us to deeply look into human rights and understanding them, and train each other, train others to also find new ways that they want to promote human rights in their communities.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And so on to our last question of this profile. How has your connection to Human Rights Educators USA made a difference to you and your organization's work?
We love HRE USA. Different folks in our organization have done the trainings, have participated in summer programming in San Francisco in person, and have participated online, myself most recently. And it's just been a really beautiful way to feel more secure and grounded in understanding the history of human rights in an international way, and really understand how we can take that information and share it in our communities and our circles. And I guess I'll just add, and it's just amazing, the people, like just the people who are connected, the network of people at HRE USA that end up in these trainings together, that you get to meet and hear what they're doing and thinking about, is really special.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being part of that network too. You are absolutely a crucial part of having that network exist and be beneficial to everybody. So that's kind of it for our profile questions. Christy, I know you jumped in kind of right in the middle, so if you want to jump in here or anything, go for it.
No, I'll just say it was wonderful to see, well, Rebecca was able to do a webinar for HRE USA, or in collaboration in our spring 2021, which was great to have a dialogue and HRE and think through how that can be more effectively a training element. So thank you, Rebecca, for that work.
Yeah, it was fun, and I get to carry that to our next board meeting. We grew our board this year, and so there's a lot of interest and support in human rights, but at the same time, there isn't necessarily like the grounding and understanding at the level that people would like. So I get to take that, what I learned in the training I was in, and then also what we did to merge it and do that with our board this fall.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. All right. So now we're kind of done with that profile interview section, which will be used for the published part, but now kind of moving on.
I want to stop the recording so that you can cut it and then start it again. I just remember that that was a little easier for downloads.
Perfect.